My husband pretended to go on a business trip and travel with his mistress, charged a 500,000 yuan bag on my supplementary card. I pressed the alarm with one click to report it. My husband and his mistress were detained for 3 days at Tokyo Airport. I'm going crazy. Zhu Yangchuan said he was having a meeting in Tokyo while I was sitting at my mother-in-law's dining table, listening to her scold me for not knowing how to live. Mother-in-law Chen Hualan slammed the chopsticks onto the table, making a sound louder than the bowls and plates. Zhiwei, it's not just me saying this to you. You've been married into the Zhu family for 6 years. Yet you have no warmth at all. Your little uncle's child needs to go to school. You're short of 200,000 yuan for school selection. You're not short of money in your hands. Why not transfer some? I bowed my head and picked up a mouthful of greens, not replying. Zhu Yangchuan sent me a message just last night. I'm on a business trip in Tokyo for 3 days. The project is urgent, don't call me. He's always like this. When I'm busy, I'm not allowed to ask when there's money to spend. He reminds me I'm his wife. When the in-laws are short on money, I've once again become a member of the Zhu family. My mother-in-law, finding I don't speak up, adds another sentence. Yang Chuan is out there building his career. You should stay home and be sensible. Men feel the pressure outside. Don't always nitpick about money. I put down my chopsticks. The phone lit up at this moment. A bank alert popped up. Your credit card with the last 4 digits 7391 on a supplementary card was charged 508,000 yuan at a luxury store in Ginza, Tokyo. I stared at that line for 3 seconds. At the dining table, my mother-in-law was still saying, "If you truly care about Yang Chuan, don't let him be troubled over money." I slowly looked up and met her gaze. So Yang Chuan's trouble was that he used my extra card to buy a 500,000 yen bag for someone in Tokyo. I opened the spending details. Merchant name, time, place, all are clear. 7:42 in the evening, Ginza, Tokyo. Not the conference center, not a hotel, it's a luxury store. I opened moments again. Lin Man posted a photo 3 minutes ago. She stood on the streets of Ginza wearing a white cashmere coat, holding a Justin Box designer bag with a very short caption. The feeling of being steadfastly chosen is wonderful. In the corner of the photo there is a man's hand. That watch on her wrist was a birthday gift I bought for Zhu Yangchuan last year. I didn't take a screenshot right away. I'll first enlarge the photo to confirm the scratch on that watch. There is a very fine mark on the bottom right of the dial. That was on New Year's Eve last year, when he helped his mother-in-law move a flower pot and banged it. I saved the image screenshot, back up to the cloud drive, then opened the bank customer service again. Mother-in-law still asked, "Did you hear that? When will the 200,000 be transferred?" I removed the engagement ring from my finger and placed it on the napkin. A crisp sound. Everyone at the table looked at me. I said, "It can't be transferred." Mother-in-law frowned. "What do you mean?" I said, "My card was fraudulently charged 500,000. I need to report it first." The dining table suddenly fell silent. Zhu Yanchuan's cousin Zhu Jing put down her chopsticks. Fraudulent charge, such a large amount. I turned the phone screen around. My mother-in-law was first stunned, then her expression changed after she read the merchant's name clearly. Her first reaction wasn't worry about my money being gone, but she blurted out, "Don't talk nonsense, Yangchuan is in Tokyo." I smiled. "Mom, you know he's in Tokyo too." Her mother-in-law's lips moved. She had just said that Zhu Yanchuan's business trip was tiring, but her reaction was too fast, so fast that it was as if she had already known he would spend my money in Tokyo. I didn't ask any more. Some answers do not require others to admit them in person. I dialed the bank number in front of everyone. "Hello, I am Shunji Wei, the primary cardholder. My supplementary card just had an overseas abnormal transaction of 5,008,000 yuan. The supplementary cardholder did not notify the purpose of the transaction in advance, and the transaction scene does not match the authorized use. I request to immediately report the supplementary card lost, freeze subsequent transactions, and submit a dispute transaction review. The customer service verifies the information." My voice sounded steady. My mother-in-law suddenly stood up and stretched out her hand to grab my phone. "Shunji Wei, are you crazy? That's Yang Chuan's card." I dodged her. "The primary card is mine, and the supplementary card was also issued in my name. The authorized use is for daily household expenses, not for taking other women to Tokyo to buy bags." "What other woman?" The mother-in-law raised her voice. "Don't mouth off with baseless accusations." I put Lin Man's moments screenshot on the table. In the photo, Lin Man smiles sweetly. The bag is very bright. That man's hand is even brighter. Zhu Jing took a quick look and her face changed too. Grandma still wants to keep up the pretense. What can one photo prove? Yang Chuan is on a business trip, meeting a friend is normal. I nodded. Okay. Then have the bank and the local merchants verify it. Customer service has already processed it. Ms. Shen, we have frozen your card because the transaction amount is large and involves an overseas on-site purchase. Later we may need the merchant to cooperate in verifying the signature, purchase voucher and identity information. Please keep your phone available. I said, okay. After hanging up the phone, mother-in-law trembled with anger. Call back immediately and cancel it. Yang Chuan is overseas, doing this will ruin him. I picked up the ring and stuffed it into my bag. When he charged my card to buy bags for someone else, he didn't fear harming me. I stand up and leave my seat. Mother-in-law curses from behind. You dare to leave, Shen Jiwei. If you step out that door today, don't ever think about entering the Zhu family again. I glance back at this table. For 6 years, at this table I have served them dishes, handed over money, offered a smile in compensation, and swallowed my grievances. They think I am soft. They think I'm afraid of divorce. They think the money I spend all comes from the Zhu family. I said, that's perfect. I open the door and step outside. The moment the elevator doors closed, my phone rang. It's Zhu Yangchuan. I answered. The line was loud on the other end of the phone with airport announcements, a woman's cry, and Zhu Yangchuan's suppressed, furious breathing. His first sentence wasn't an explanation. It was a roar. Shen Jiwei, are you crazy? Why did you report the supplementary card? Lin Man and I are being detained at Tokyo Airport right now. Are you satisfied? I look at myself in the elevator mirror. My face is very pale, but my eyes are strangely sharp. I ask him, aren't you in a meeting? On the other end of the line, Zhu Yanchen was silent for 2 seconds. Then he said, unfreeze the loss report first and I'll explain it to you when we go back. I pressed the button to go downstairs. No need to go back to explain. I said, let's explain this at the airport. Zhu Yangchuan was gasping heavily on the other end of the line. He lowered his voice, as if afraid someone nearby might hear. Jiwei, don't make a scene. That supplementary card has been used by me all along. What's the big deal if I swipe it once? I walked out of the unit door and the night wind blew against my face so cold that it woke me up. Swipe it? I asked. A bag worth $500,000 bought for Lin Man. You mean swipe it? Lin Man's crying voice came from the phone. Yang Chuan, I don't want to stay here. They keep asking who bought the bag. I'm scared. I stopped in my tracks so she can be afraid too. When she posts on Moments, it doesn't look like fear. That line, the feeling of being decisively chosen, slapped me in the face. Zhu Yangchuan muttered irritably, Shen Jiwei, is this even worth arguing about right now? We've already been stopped at the airport. The merchant said the transaction was reported as unusual by the primary cardholder, and the airport wants us to provide an explanation. I have things to do tomorrow. You call the bank now and say it's a misunderstanding. I didn't misunderstand. You're determined to make a big thing out of this. I'm not the one making it big, I said. You took another woman abroad while you were married using my supplementary card to buy a 500,000 yuan bag. His voice sank. Don't say another woman in one breath. Lin Man is just accompanying me to discuss the project. Discussing the project until a luxury boutique. He fell silent again. I heard someone speaking Japanese in the distance, and Zhu Yanchuan's breath grew more ragged. After a while, his voice softened. Jiwei, I know you're angry. Help me this one time, and when I return to my country I'll tell you everything, I promise. I used to fall for his tricks best. Whenever he softened his voice, I would think, forget it. There is no way for married couples to avoid bumps along the way. A man wants to save face outside. He first suppresses the matter. But this time, when I looked at that consumer reminder on the phone screen, I suddenly felt nauseated. I asked him, how many times did you promise? Zhu Yangchuan paused, his voice halting. I continued, you promised you wouldn't take my money to support your mother again. You promised not to let your younger brother move into the apartment I owned before our wedding. You promised Lin Man was just an ordinary partner. You promised Tokyo was a business trip. Shen Jiwei. He was anxious again. I hung up the phone directly. Not 10 seconds had passed when my mother-in-law called. I answered and put it on speaker. My mother-in-law scolded me furiously. You must deal with Yangchuan immediately. He's currently abroad and being held by someone. How can you as his wife be so cruel? I stand by the roadside watching the car lights go by. Mom, didn't you say he went on a business trip? Since it's a normal business trip, just cooperate with the verification. Quit the ominous sarcasm. Grandma roars. Men entertain clients when they're out. So what if he brings a female colleague? So what if he buys a bag? You're his wife. Your money isn't his money too. I laughed. Then why doesn't he use his own card? Mother-in-law choked, I said. Because his credit limit wasn't enough, because he knows I will pay back this money. Because he thinks I will never turn against him. There was a brief silence on the other end of the line. The mother-in-law's tone grew sharp. Don't forget, you guys aren't divorced yet. Marital property is joint property. On what basis do you say it's yours? I said, the primary cardholder is me. When applying for the supplementary card, he signed the purpose confirmation. This consumption is not a family living expense. These words were not improvised by me. In the second year after marriage, Yang Chuan said he traveled frequently and needed a supplementary card to facilitate hotel deposits and transportation expenses. I have done risk control and am accustomed to leaving traces, so I had him sign a statement of purpose. He at the time also laughed at my professional paranoia. He said, Shen Jiwei, are you even protecting your husband? I felt guilty at that time. Now it seems it isn't me defending him, it's him who deserved to be defended long ago. Mother-in-law, exhausted from scolding, starts to cry. Jiwei, Mom begs you, please save Yang Chuan first. If there's anything, we'll talk about it after we return to China. Lin Man, that young girl, is also at the airport. She's only in her 20s. With you making such a scene, what will become of her reputation? I hear, my fingers slowly tighten. So she knew Lin Man was a young girl as well. She also knew that reputation mattered. It's just that my own reputation didn't seem important. I asked, Mom, what about my reputation? Grandmother-in-law seemed not to understand. What reputation of yours? My husband took his mistress abroad and used my card to buy her a bag. In your eyes, is my reputation as his wife not a reputation at all? Grandmother-in-law fell silent. I hung up immediately. After returning home, I did not turn on the lights. In the living room there is still the suit that Yang Chuan changed out of last week on display. There is his tie on the back of the sofa. On the dining table is a half bottle of water he didn't finish. This looks like a home, but I suddenly realized that everything in this home was reminding me that I had taken care of an unworthy person for 6 years. I opened my laptop. The first thing I did was log into online banking and revoke all future permissions for Yang Chuan's supplementary card. Second thing, download the supplementary card for the past 3 years. Third thing, export all of Yang Chuan's chats about business trip reports. He is not a very clever liar. 3 months ago he said he was going to a conference in Hangzhou, but the bill shows a hotel deposit in Sonia. 2 months ago, he said he was dining with a client, and Lin Man's Moments posted photos from the same Japanese restaurant. Half a month ago, he said there was a company team building event, but his supplementary cards wiped at a women's clothing store. It's not that I hadn't seen it before, it's just that every time I find him an excuse. The scariest thing about marriage isn't other people deceiving you, it's you too. Maintain the surface of completeness, helping the con artist patch the holes. At 1 a.m. bank relationship manager Sister Zhao called me back. Her voice was very professional. Ms. Shen, overseas merchants have already received the dispute notice. Because the amount is large, the other party cooperated with the local airport and payment institutions to perform verification. The auxiliary cardholder Mr. Zhu was indeed on site, but the accompanying lady is not the cardholder authorized to use it, and the purchased items were carried by the accompanying lady. Now the other party needs you to confirm whether you approve this transaction. I said, I do not approve. Ms. Zhao paused for a moment. Are you sure? Once the formal dispute process begins, the other party may need to continue cooperating with the investigation, and it may not end immediately. I'm sure. She said, okay, we will handle it according to the procedure. After hanging up, Yang Chuan sent another message. Shen Jiwei, please, I'm begging you, withdraw first. Next item, Lin Man has cried her eyes out. Her passport and bag are being held. She's on the verge of collapse. Next item. By doing this, you'll only make me hate you more. I looked at the last sentence and suddenly laughed out loud. He still thought I cared whether he liked me or not. I replied to him, then go ahead and hate me. After sending it, I set his WeChat to do not disturb. The next morning, my mother-in-law and a group of Zhu family relatives came to bang on the door. The doorbell rang harshly. Shen Jiwei, get out here. I peered through the cat's eye. My mother-in-law Zhu Jing, my younger uncle Zhu Qiming, and 2 distant relatives I can't name were all blocking the doorway. My mother-in-law's hair was disheveled, her eyes red. She shouted at the door, Yang Chuan and Lin Man have been detained at Tokyo Airport for 3 days. Are you satisfied now? Do you want to drive my son to death? I didn't open the door. I turned on the printer. One bill after another spilled out. Ginza, Tokyo, 500,000. Sonia Hotel, 8,600. Women's clothing shop, 23,000. Beauty salon, 19,000. Flowers, perfume, jewelry, restaurant. Each stroke feels like a nail. I file them neatly into the folder. Outside the door, my mother-in-law is still scolding. Inside the door, I text Yuan Qing, I want a divorce. Yuan Qing was my college classmate and now she works as a paralegal at a law firm. She replied to me quickly, preserve the evidence, don't quarrel, don't resort to physical violence, don't accept a verbal settlement, first make the property and debts clear. I typed 2 words, understood. Then I opened the drawer. At the very bottom a yellow document is pressed down, property and personal assets confirmation before marriage. Zhu Yangchuan wore a face full of impatience when he signed it. Back then he said, aren't you too mistrusting of marriage? I apologized softly at the time. Now I touch the page and thank myself for the first time. Back then there was a sudden quiet outside the door. A few seconds later my mother-in-law changed her tone. Jiwei, Mom knows you're feeling wronged, but a woman's life can't be too rigid. Yangchuan just made mistakes that men would make. You bring him back to the country and Mom will have him apologize to you. I closed the folder. I walked to the door. Through the door I said, there's no need to apologize. Mother-in-law's face lit up. So you'll help him after all, I said. Let him come back to sign the divorce papers. The outside air fell silent again. The mother-in-law cursed outside for half an hour, from calling you you're immature to you're cruel, and then to no one wants a woman like you. I didn't reply at all. It's not that I've gotten my temper better. I suddenly realized that arguing with them about who is right or wrong is meaningless. They never care about right or wrong. They only care whether I can continue to give. In the afternoon I changed a lock. When the master was removing the old lock, Grandma called again. Shinji Wei, what do you mean by changing the lock? That is my son's home. I stood by the door and watched the old lock fall down. This set of apartment was paid in full before my marriage, and after the marriage the loan has always been deducted from my personal account. Zhu Yangchuan has the right to reside, but that does not mean your Zhu family has the right to come and go at will. Mother-in-law screamed. How can there be such a strict separation between husband and wife? I said, I didn't distinguish before, so I suffered. Now I've made the distinction. She hung up in anger. I did not stop. I sorted Zhu Yangchuan's clothes item by item and packed them into the suitcase. Make a list of valuable items. Take photos of the documents separately. His private files I won't touch. My bank cards, certificates, and contracts. All moved, relocated. In the evening I went to the bank. Sister Zhao looked at me with a somewhat complicated expression. Ms. Shen, Tokyo is still under verification. Mr. Zhu has been insisting on contacting the primary cardholder to resolve the dispute. I asked, can he resolve it? No, he cannot. The primary cardholder is you, and you are also the dispute submitter. I nodded. Sister Zhao pulled out the application materials for the supplementary card. In the usage description, Zhu Yangchuan's signature is clear. I, Zhu Yangchuan, confirm that this supplementary card is for the family's daily expenses during the marriage, travel deposits, and reasonable joint expenditures, and is not for personal luxury consumption, third-party gifts, or non-family use. I wrote this sentence back then. When he signed, he even mocked me. It's a pity you won't work in banking in the future. I feel it's a pity now as well. It's not that it's a pity to leave the workforce. It's that I used my expertise to protect him but not to protect myself. I asked Sister Zhao to help me obtain the data retrieval receipt. She lowered her voice and said, Jiwei, I'll add one more thing. I won't comment on you and your husband, but large disputes aren't a small matter. Since you're going through the process, don't get talked out of it halfway by your emotions, otherwise later the accounts will be troublesome. I said, no. After leaving the bank I received a call from Zhu Yangchuan. This time, his voice was hoarse. Shinji Wei, 3 days now. I stand on the sidewalk as the traffic flies by in front of me. He really seems tired. I haven't slept well for 3 days. Lin Man is also terrified. We've been asked to explain the consumption relationship and the package can't be retrieved for the time being. What exactly do you want? I said, I want a divorce. He gave a cold snort. Is it because of a bag? I nearly laughed out loud. Men are best at shrinking betrayal into an object, not cheating, not deception, not intramarital redirected spending, not using my wife's money to please the mistress, just one bag. I asked him, if I use your card to buy a 500,000 yuan watch for another man, do you still think it's Just a watch, he exclaimed angrily. You dare, so you know you're not supposed to either. Silence on the other end of the line. I said, Ju Yangchuan, after returning to the country we'll discuss divorce. I've already sorted your things, come back to pick them up, contact me in advance. Did you change the locks? Yes. His voice changed at once. Shen Jiwei, don't go too far, that is my home as well, I corrected him. That is my house. The post-marriage loan payments are half mine too. Repayment continues to be deducted from my pre-marriage account. And after the marriage you never transferred a single mortgage payment. If you want to negotiate, bring a lawyer. He choked as if stifled. After a few seconds he gritted his teeth and said, when did you become this cold-blooded? I looked at myself in the glass at the bank's entrance. I haven't changed. I just finally stopped warming up the stage for him. I said, from the day you swiped my supplementary card to buy Lin Man a bag. After hanging up, Yuan Qing arranged to meet me at the cafe downstairs. Of the law firm, she finished reviewing my information and couldn't help but curse. Ju Yangchuan is really bold. I pushed the bill back toward her. I used to think it was just his mother taking advantage. Now I see, maybe from the very beginning I was their family's joint account. Yuan Qing asked, what outcome do you want? Divorce, keep the house, clean up the debt. As for the money he gave Lin Manhua, recover as much as possible. Over the years, the money my in-laws borrowed from me, those with IOUs are considered loans. Those without IOUs will be used as the basis for division of marital assets. Yuan Qing nodded. You are very clear-headed. I lowered my eyes. Waking up too late, she patted the back of my hand. Not that late if you can still pull out the ledger now. It isn't late. That night, I went home and opened an old hard drive. Inside lies the household ledger I've kept since our first year of marriage. In the past, I did the accounts to let Ju Yangchuan know where the money went. He never looked. He said, you just take care of the home. Now these ledgers have become the road for me to leave. In the first year my mother-in-law had gallbladder surgery, and I fronted 86,000. In the second year my younger brother-in-law bought a car, and I lent 120,000 with note temporary turnover. In the third year my mother-in-law renovated the old house and I transferred 150,000. In the fourth year Ju Yanchuan's startup failed and I repaid his credit card debt of 210,000 yuan. In the fifth year Ju family's nephew received tutoring 38,000 yuan. In the sixth year Jinza Tokyo 500 yuan. I organized every sum into a table: amount, date, transfer, recipient, remarks, chat, screenshot, return or not. In the last column, most of it is blank. At 3 in the morning I received a stranger's text message. Ms. Shen, you may not know, but Mr. Ju has already stayed at that Tokyo hotel with Lin Man 6 months ago. Attached to the message is a screenshot of the hotel reservation. Check-in guest Ju Yangchuan, travel companion. Note: Lin Man, time was 6 months ago. That day, he told me to attend a closed-door meeting in Suzhou. I stared at the screenshot for a long time. The last bit of dull pain in my heart finally cooled completely. It turns out Tokyo is not the first time. It's just the first time that I caught him paying. Ju Yangchuan returns to the country on the fourth day. He did not contact me in advance. At 9 o'clock in the evening, he stood at the doorway with his suitcase, pressing the doorbell hard. I looked out through the peephole. He had thinned a bit, stubble growing, the suit disheveled and ill-fitting. Not far behind him, a taxi was parked. Lin Man sits in the car. She wears sunglasses, a scarf covering half of her face. She doesn't have that bag in hand. I opened the door just a crack. Ju Yangchuan's face soured the moment he saw the door lock. You really changed the lock, I said. Your things are at the door. I pushed the 2 suitcases out. He did not look at the suitcase. Instead, he reached out to steady the door with his hand. Shen Jiwei, let's talk. I didn't let him into the room. Okay, let's talk here. A vein jumped in his temple. Do you have to put it that way? The neighbors are watching. I glanced at the hallway camera. Then choose your words carefully. Ju Yangchuan took a deep breath, as if holding back. What happened in Tokyo was my fault, but you dragged things to the airport and caused Lin Man and me to be detained for 3 days. You're also to blame. I was amused by his remark. So you mean you cheated and charged my card and I should pretend I don't know? You were under review for 3 days. Is that my fault? I'm not cheating, he immediately retorted. Lin Man was just accompanying me to relieve stress. I've been under a lot of pressure lately. You never understand me. I nodded. Under a lot of pressure. So you bought a bag worth $500,000. That bag was chosen by her herself. I was just... He paused. I spoke for him. I just think swiping my supplementary card isn't something to feel distressed about. He looked at me, a hint of embarrassment flashing in his eyes. I handed him the divorce agreement. Sign it. He didn't even glance at it and tore it up directly. The slip fell to the ground. Shinji Wei, I told you we're going to talk, not threaten me. I'm not threatening you. The agreement is only the first draft. If you won't sign, we'll go to litigation. He sneered. Lawsuits, you think you'll win for sure. This house, after 6 years of paying the mortgage post-marriage, the appreciation part is half mine. Your savings also earned during the marriage. If you really want to tear up the face, no one will be better off. I looked at him. This is the real Zhu Yangchuan. Before, he was gentle because I let him. Now that I won't let him, he starts calculating my house, my savings, my way out. I said, fine, then it's settled. He didn't expect me to be so straightforward. What do you mean? Literally, I have the mortgage payments, the down payment, source, and a prenuptial agreement. If you want a division, you can submit evidence. As for every penny you gave Lin Manhua, count it too. His face changed color. You checked me. Spending alerts come automatically, no need to check. As for what comes next, that's your own many loopholes. Lin Nan finally got off the taxi. Her eyes were red and her voice was very soft. Sister Shen, I know you've misunderstood Yang Chuan, and I really aren't as awkward as you think. That day in Tokyo, he just saw I was in a bad mood and wanted to cheer me up. I look at her, at 26, young, beautiful, and even when crying she knows how to pick a good angle. She calls me Sister Shen, as if she weren't someone intruding on a marriage, but a little sister. I bully Ed. I asked, if he's coaxing you, why are you swiping my card? Lin Man bit her lip. I don't know, that's your card. I opened my phone and released her moments screenshot. There were people in your comment section asking, was this from your brother-in-law? You replied with a heart. Her face paled a little. Zhu Yangqian immediately stood in front of her. Enough, don't target her, she is young and naive. I watched his movements in 6 years of marriage. He rarely blocked me like this. Once at the New Year's Eve dinner, my mother-in-law said I couldn't give birth, and I waited for her to say something for me. He said, Mom is in a hurry too. Now Lin Man hasn't finished a single sentence and he guards me so tightly. I suddenly stopped feeling sad altogether. I opened the door a little and pushed the suitcase to his feet. Take your things away. Tomorrow at 10 in the morning in the community mediation room. If you don't come, I'll file a lawsuit directly. Zhu Yangchuan stared at me. Shinji Wei, you'll regret it. I said, the thing I regret most is that I reported the card late after it was lost. His face turned ashen. I closed the door. At the moment the door shut, Lin Man sobbed softly. Yang Chuan, what should I do? The package shop is still holding it. Will I leave a record? Zhu Yanchuan pressed the fire. You don't worry about the bag for now. I stood inside the door and suddenly smiled. See there, love. After being stuck at the airport for 3 days, the one who worried the most first was the bag. The next morning, Zhu Yangchuan did not go to the mediation room. It was her mother-in-law who came. As soon as she walked in, she threw her bag on the table. Shinji Wei, how much money do you want to let my son go? The community mediator froze. I sat opposite her and calmly said, I'm filing for divorce, not for money. Grandma-in-law sneered. Don't pretend to be virtuous. I've seen many women like you. You just want more of the assets, right? I tell you, the house is half mine because my son owns half. Don't think you can grab it all. I took out the first set of documents from the file: copy of property ownership certificate, housing purchase contract, pre-marriage down payment transaction records, pre-marriage property declaration. Mother-in-law's expression froze. What are these things? After so many years of marriage, you've long since shared everything. I pulled out a second copy again. 6 years of mortgage payment records, all from my personal account. The monthly living expenses that Zhu Yangchuan transfers to me total 0. After the mediator finished reading, she looked up at her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law spoke more softly but still not convinced. What about that? We're a married couple too. She lives at home. Does my son not contribute? I take out the third copy: household expenses ledger. Water, electricity, property management, car insurance, fuel cost, mother-in-law's medical expenses, relatives of the Zhu family borrowing money, Zhu Yanchuan's credit card compensation. I say, contributions can be itemized. Consumption can be itemized too. Let's start with the first entry today. Grandmother looked at the first page of the ledger and finally stopped talking. At this moment, Zhu Yangchuan sent a message. Lin Man was frightened into illness. You harmed her like this. Are you satisfied? I replied to him, if she's sick, she goes to a doctor. If you're sick, you go to a lawyer. I won't cure scum men. Zhu Yangchuan finally arrived at the mediation room. He was 20 minutes late and walked in with a barely contained anger. His mother-in-law sat beside him, her eyes reddened, as if she had suffered a great grievance. Zhu Yangchuan frowned first when he saw the materials on the desk. Are you really going to pull all of this out? I asked in return. What else, according to your mother, you own? Half of the house. His expression darkened. My mom talks a bit urgently, but marriage isn't something you calculate like this. I looked at him. Then when you used my supplementary card to buy Lin Man a bag, does that count as settling the account? He avoided my eyes. The mediator cleared his throat. Both sides. Calm down first. Today we mainly discuss the intention to divorce and the preliminary status of the assets. Zhu Yanchuan immediately said, I don't agree to divorce, mother-in-law. Nodded along. That's right, we won't divorce. A quarrel between husband and wife is just that. How can we go as far as divorcing? I said, I insist on divorce. The mediator asked for the reason. I pushed the Tokyo expense report forward. Dubious within marriage, traveling abroad with a third party, using my supplementary card to buy 500,000 worth of luxury goods. After I filed a complaint, the two cooperated with the investigation at Tokyo airport for 3 days. After that, the man did not apologize and even asked me to settle the dispute and bear the consequences. Zhu Yangquan suddenly looked up. Watch your words. What third party? What travel? That's work. I pulled out Lin Man's Moments screenshot, Tokyo Ginza, hotel afternoon tea, couples hot spring vouchers and the accompanying words. The time stolen is the most romantic. After the mediator finished reading, his expression clearly changed. The mother-in-law was still holding on. Nowadays young girls love posting on social media all the time. That doesn't mean anything. I nodded. Then keep reading. I took out the hotel booking screenshot again. 6 months ago, Tokyo, check-in guest, Zhu Yangchuan accompanying Lin Man. Zhu Yancha's face finally turned pale. Where did you come from? Does it matter? I said. What's important is that 6 months ago you told me you were in Suzhou. Mother-in-law instinctively looked at her son. Yang Zhu Yang's lips moved but no words came out. The mediator bowed his head to take notes. I didn't cry, nor did I swear. I was just laying out pile after pile of papers. Sometimes evidence is more useful than tears. Zhu Yangchuan was silent for a long time, then finally said, even if I am in the wrong, you can't be so adamant. After 6 years of our relationship, you don't miss me at all. I looked at him. I miss you. So I endured 6 years. A glimmer appeared in his eyes. I continued. My mother-in-law was hospitalized. I took leave to care for her. Your brother bought a car. I lent money. Your startup failed. I paid off your credit cards. You say the pressure is high. I asked less. You say there are many social engagements. I waited at the door. You say Lin Man was only a partner. I believed you. I pushed Tokyo's expense sheet in front of him. Is this how you're going to repay me? Zhu Yangchuan lowered his head. His fingers slowly clenched. Grandma whispered nearby. Every man makes mistakes, Zhuwei. Don't say it so definitively. Yangchuan isn't lacking in conditions. After you divorce, who can a woman in her 30s really find? I laughed. The mediator frowned. I said, Aunt Chen, my divorce isn't about finding anyone. It's to stop supporting your whole family. Grandmother's face reddened. What do you want me to call you? Aunt Chen. I looked at her. After the divorce proceedings begin, I no longer have an obligation to call you Mom. She was so angry she almost stood up. Zhu Yangchuan held her down. That's enough. He looked at me, his voice lower. Zhiwei, I admit I couldn't handle the Tokyo matter well, but Lin Man and I really haven't gone as far as you think. I took out the last sheet of paper from the bag. It's the detail page of the Tokyo hotel reservation screenshot. A double room, stay for 2 nights, note, honeymoon arrangement. Which step? I asked. Zhu Yangchuan fell completely silent. The first mediation ended in a grim stalemate. As I was leaving, Zhu Yangchuan ran after me and blocked me at the stairwell. Yushin Jiwei, do you have to force me to admit the embarrassment to? I said, what's embarrassing is what you did, not my exposing it. He looked at me with red eyes. You weren't like this before. I lifted the strap over my shoulder. I used to love you. This sentence exits. He froze. I continue. Not now. After finishing, I walked past him to the outside. He said from behind, don't regret it. He has said this sentence many times in the past few days. I didn't look back. After I got home, I opened the Zhu family relatives group chat. Grandma-in-law has been crying and lamenting inside for a whole day. Jiwei is too ruthless. Yang Chuan just went on a business trip with colleagues and bought a few things, and she reported him to harm the family, leaving them detained abroad. We really misjudged you. She has a little money, so she looks down on her in-laws. Many relatives in the group chimed in. Spouses should still be mutually tolerant of each other. Women being too assertive is bad. Yang Chuan is so outstanding. Jiwei, don't be selective. I didn't explain it, I only posted one picture. 6-year summary of the Ju family's expenditures, total amount 1973,620 yuan. Each item below has a remark: mother-in-law hospitalized, young uncle bought a car, renovating the old house, nephew's tutoring, Ju Yanchuan's credit card debt repayment, Tokyo Ginza luxury goods. The chat group fell silent in an instant. After a few minutes, Ju Jing messaged me privately. Jiwei, are these all real? I replied. They all have a record. She was silent for a long time. I didn't know you had done so much before. I looked at the screen. And my heart remained calm. Just because I don't know doesn't mean nothing happened. They just pretended nothing happened as long as I didn't speak up before. In the evening, mother-in-law sent a voice message in the group again. Shinjiwei, what do you mean by sending the ledger to the group? Are you trying to ruin our Ju family? This time I replied to the group message, is to remove a heavy object, but I know the Ju family won't let go so easily. Sure enough, early the next morning, Grandma posted a photo of a hospital bed on her Moments caption, daughter-in-law is unfilial, forcing the old man to be hospitalized. The family is doomed. Someone asked what happened in the meantime. Mother-in-law replied, for a little money. She even harmed her own husband. I finished reading and slapped the phone back on the table. Yuan Qing asked me, do you want to respond? I said, no hurry. She looked at me. I put the organized ledger into the folder. Isn't she going to have someone read it? Then let everyone see clearly at once. Mother-in-law's hospitalization is fake. The birthday banquet is real. 3 days later, she held a 60th birthday feast. The venue was set at a high-end banquet hall, and the largest private room was reserved. I originally didn't want to go. Ju Jing called me. Her tone was filled with reluctance. Jiwei, aunt has invited a lot of relatives over and said she wants you to apologize to Yang Chuan face to face. If you don't come, she will definitely keep talking about you being cowardly behind your back. I asked, did Ju Yang Chuan go? Go. Lin Man seems to be going too. I remained silent for 2 seconds. Okay, I'll go. After Yuan Qing heard about it, she reminded me, don't act impulsively. Don't lay a hand on them, don't let them set the pace. I said, I know. On the birthday banquet day, I wore a black coat, not wearing a wedding ring, not wearing heavy makeup. The file bag was put in the bag. When I arrived at the private room, it was already full. Mother-in-law is wearing a red cheongsam and sitting in the main seat. Ju Yangchuan sits to her right. Lin Man is not at the table, but her bag is placed on the chair beside, not the Tokyo one, but it isn't cheap either. As soon as I walked in, everyone looked at me. My mother-in-law's eyes instantly reddened. Jiwei, you finally arrived. Mom thought you really didn't want this family anymore. I didn't answer her. Ju Yangchuan stood up and whispered, you sit first. I sat in the spot closest to the door. The dishes hadn't all come out yet when the mother-in-law began to speak. She picked up the teacup, her voice choked with emotion. Today is my 60th birthday and I should be joyful. But our family recently had a scandal and everyone has heard about it. Jiwei was caught in a moment of clouded judgment and caused Yang Chuan and a female colleague to be detained abroad for 3 days. Someone sighed at the table. There are no lingering grudges between husband and wife. Jiwei, you really did this before. Men are bound to be entertaining clients outside. You have to give him face. Mother-in-law wiped away tears. I don't blame her, she's young and naive. I just hope she stands in front of everyone today, pours Yang Chuan a cup of tea and admits her fault. Let this matter be in the past. Ju Yangchuan frowned but didn't stop her. Lin Man happened to push the door and come in at that moment. She was wearing a light-colored dress, her face pale and her hand gently resting on her abdomen. Her mother-in-law stood up at once to support her. Man is here. Sit quickly, don't tire yourself. The relatives' expressions changed at once. I sit in place watching this scene. Lin Man lowered her head, looking very aggrieved. Sister Shen, I didn't come today to provoke you. I just feel that some things need to be made clear. She looked at Ju Yangchuan. Ju Yangchuan's face looked complicated, but he didn't let her leave. Mother-in-law continued. Man is a good girl. The Tokyo incident, she was also a victim, kept at the airport for 3 days. She was scared to the point of wasting away. I finally spoke up. So today is your longevity banquet or Lin Man's whitewashing banquet. The private room is quiet. Grandma's expression changed. How dare you talk like that? I stood up. Since we need to be clear, let's be clear all at once. I walked to the TV in the private room and plugged in the USB drive. Ju Yangchuan suddenly stood up. Shen. Jiwei, what are you doing? I said, Your mother told me to publicly admit my mistake. I have to let everyone know first where I was wrong. The TV turned on. The first page is the shopping receipt for Tokyo Ginza supplementary card merchant time. The second page is Lin Man's moments. The feeling of being firmly chosen is wonderful. The third page shows Ju Yanchuan's hotel reservation in Tokyo from 6 months ago. Page 4 is Sonya Hotel. Page 5 is women's clothing store purchase. Page 6 is flowers, perfume, jewelry. Relatives' expressions grew increasingly unpleasant. Mother-in-law rushed over to pull out the USB drive. I blocked her. Aunt Chen, don't hurry, there are more Ju family ledgers behind it. Her body stiffened. I pressed next page. 6 years of marriage. Summary of expenses related to the Ju family. 1 973 620 yuan. Someone in the private room drew in a cold breath. I read them one by one. Ms. Chen Hualan underwent gallbladder surgery. 86,000. Mr. Ju Chiming purchased a car with a loan. 120,000. The old Ju family house renovation. 150,000. Ju Yangchuan credit card repayment. 210,000. Nephew's tutoring. S. 38,000. Grandmother-in-law's birthday banquet prepayment. 22,000. I looked at my mother-in-law. Today for this birthday banquet. I also paid the deposit. Mother-in-law's face turned pale. Someone whispered, Hualan, have you repaid these debts? Mother-in-law kept her stubborn stance. We're a family, there's no paying back in a family. I nodded. So from today onward we are no longer a family. Those who owe will repay. Ju Yangchuan walked up to me, lowering his voice. Do you have to embarrass me like this? I looked at him. When your mother publicly told me I couldn't have a child, when your relatives urged me to be magnanimous, and when Lin Man taunted me on social media, did you ever think about how I felt? His gaze flickered. I continue. Ju Yangchuan, today it isn't me who wants to embarrass you, it's the things you did, finally seen by others. Lin Man suddenly burst into tears. Sister Shen, don't force Yangchuan anymore. I'm sincere with him. Your marriage has long since lost its affection. Why can't you let go? I turned to look at her. I have let go. She paused in surprise. I said, I'm settling the bill now. A moment of tears paused on Lin Man's face. Mom suddenly gripped her hand, as if grabbing the last chip. Jiwei, don't mess around, man, she's pregnant. The private room exploded in an instant. Ju Yangchuan was stunned as well. Mom, the mother-in-law seemed to be going all out. She is pregnant with Yanchuan's child. You and Yangchuan haven't had a child in all these years, so consider it a good deed and stop making a scene. Whether to separate or not can wait. First, let Man rest and nurture the fetus. Lin Man lowered her head, not denying it. Everyone looked at me. They thought I would collapse, go crazy. We'll slap her in the face, we'll lose utterly. But I picked up my phone and opened the nearby hospital registration page. Sure, I handed my phone to Lin Man. Since you're pregnant, go to the hospital for a checkup first. There are still slots now. I'll accompany you. Lin Man's face changed. Mom-in-law immediately blocked her. What do you want to do? I said. Confirm the gestational age, confirm the physical condition, confirm the responsibility. Didn't you say she was pregnant? Lin Man's lips turned pale. Ju Yangchuan looked at her and his gaze finally became uncertain. I stared at Lin Man. Why aren't you going? The private room was so quiet that even the sound of the air conditioning could be heard clearly. Linen's hand slowly lowered from her abdomen. She whispered, I don't feel well today. I laughed. Being pregnant is uncomfortable. You should go to the hospital. Her tears fell again. Sister Shen, why do you have to be so aggressive? I said. Because I don't want to pay for your lies anymore. That moment, Ju Yangchuan didn't speak for her for the first time. Lin Man didn't go to the hospital in the end. She said she felt dizzy. Her mother-in-law said she had been provoked. And Ju Yangchuan said they would talk about it another day. I didn't insist. I just stood in front of everyone and saved a screenshot of the registration page. When I left the box, Ju Jing chased after me. Her expression was very complicated. Jiwei, I'm sorry. I stopped. You don't have to apologize for them. We really used to think, she paused, that you kept a tight rein on the finances, that Yangchuan was under pressure because of it. I didn't expect you to have so much on your plate. I said, a person only believes what they are willing to believe. Ju Jing lowered her head. On my mom's side, I'll persuade them. I shook my head. No need to persuade, follow the legal procedures. After I finished speaking, I left the restaurant. Just as I arrived at the parking lot, Ju Yanchuan, Shen Jiwei, I turned around. He stood under the street lamp, looking tired and disheveled. Are you satisfied now? My mother's birthday banquet was ruined by you. The relatives all know Lin Man was forced into that by you as well. I calmly asked, do you still think that it was me who ruined everything? He jerked his head in annoyance. I admit I was wrong, but could you not go so far in every step? I said, I'm just stopping covering for your shortcomings. Lin Man is pregnant. She isn't pregnant. He looked up suddenly. Who do you think you are to say that? I handed him my phone. She posted a video about drinking last week. Although she deleted it after 3 hours, I saved it the day before. Yesterday she was promoting medical aesthetics on a secondary account, talking about going for a waist and abdomen procedure next week. A truly pregnant person wouldn't arrange things like this. Zhu Yanchuan's face color shifted a little. I continued, of course, the simplest way is to go to the hospital. She won't dare to go. You already have the answer in your heart. He stood still and didn't say a word for a long time. I tucked my phone away. Zhu Yangchuan, look, you know she's lying to you. You just need her as an excuse to push all the blame onto me. His Adam's apple moved. No, the micro. I take a step back. Don't call me that. His eyes darkened. I got on the car and left that night. Another anonymous message came in. MS Shin, I'm Chen Bei, Lin Man's former roommate. She didn't just deceive your husband, she's been taking things gifted by married men and reselling them as second-hand items, and she owes me money for purchasing on her behalf. That time in Tokyo she had planned to bring the bag back to sell it to cover her deficits. I stared at the message, silent for a long time, then I replied to her, is there evidence? 10 minutes later, Chen Bei sent a bunch of screenshots, Lin Man's secondary account chat records, her conversations with the second-hand buyer. She boasted that old men are easy to fool. She said, the original partner is very cowardly, won't protest. The last sentence is the most jarring. With a high supplementary card limit, even after spending, it's not my responsibility to repay. I fixed my gaze on that sentence, my fingers icy in their eyes. I am not a wife, I am an allowance. The next day, Lin Man struck first. She posted a long article on social media. The title is, Being Maliciously Reported by an Ex-Spouse. I was stuck in Tokyo for 3 days. I was just accompanying my leader on a business trip, but it nearly ruined my life. She portrays herself as an innocent girl. She says she had just started in the industry and was assigned by her leader to accompany the project. He says the package is a client gift. She doesn't know it involves a family dispute. He says Shen Jiwei used his main card authority to maliciously retaliate. She says she cried at the airport for 3 days, leaving a severe psychological shadow. There are people in the comment section who insult me soon after. Is the original wife crazy? Even if you hate the other woman, you can't call the police recklessly. Why do women have to treat other women harshly? She's just a young girl working. I watched for 10 minutes, no reply. Yuan Qing called me, sounding a bit anxious. Jiwei, this piece is somewhat leading. Do you want to send a lawyer's letter? I said, there's no need to rush. Do you have any more evidence? Yes, I opened the computer and reorganized all the materials, but I didn't send out all the private information at once. I have only issued one statement. I, Shen Jiwei, am the primary cardholder involved in this credit card incident. The authorized use of the auxiliary card is for household daily expenses and reasonable business trips. When the 500,000 yen purchase occurred at Tokyo Ginza, I was not present. I did not authorize a third party to hold the goods, and the auxiliary cardholder Zhu Mao had concealed his true itinerary from me in advance. I have lawfully reported the loss and submitted a dispute transaction review. There is no malice in reporting to the police. The subsequent handling of marriage and property issues will be pursued through legal channels. Below the statement I have attached 3 blurred images, confirmation of auxiliary card, Tokyo expense sheet, Lin Man's moments, firmly chosen, not much, enough. The tone in the comment section has started to shift. Wait, the secondary card is the original one. A $500,000 package as a customer gift. That line on her moments is too provocative. Accompany the boss on a business trip all the way to Ginza to buy a bag. The wife didn't curse anyone. The evidence is very clear. Lin Man quickly deleted the long post, but the screenshots had already circulated. Zhu Yangchuan called me. This time he didn't yell. Can we put an end to the online stuff? I asked. Who are you pleading for? He was silent. I said, if Lin Man doesn't post, I won't respond. Since she wants to push me to be scolded, she should bear the consequences. He said, she's young, impulsive in her actions. That same sentence again. I suddenly felt very tired. Zhu Yangchuan, you're 36, don't always use other people's ages to absolve your own choices. His voice dropped. There really is no way back after a divorce. I asked again, are you asking this because you love me, or because you've discovered that Lin Man has also deceived you? The other end of the line fell into dead silence. I know the answer now. In the afternoon, Yuan Qing accompanied me to the law firm to formally submit the documents: divorce lawsuit, property division, debt ownership, recovery of improper domestic expenditures. When leaving the law firm, the sun was shining brightly. I thought I would cry, but I don't have it. I just tightened the straps and kept moving forward. At 11 o'clock at night, Zhu Yangchuan suddenly sent a photo. It was a chat screenshot between him and Lin Man. He asked her, "Are you really pregnant or not?" Lin Man replied, "Do you find it interesting that you're asking this now? If it weren't for your wife causing trouble, would I be in such a dire situation?" He asked again, "That bag from Tokyo, are you planning to sell it?" Lin Man did not give a direct answer. She only replied with one sentence, "Zhu Yangchuan, don't forget, you were the one who offered to take me there." I finished reading and put the phone down. They finally began to bite back at each other, but this is no longer my concern. After Lin Man deleted the post, she didn't stop. She switched to a new account and commented as a bystander, saying that Shen Jiwei is a control freak, say that Zhu Yangchuan has been oppressed for many years within marriage, say that Lin Man is only an innocent worker pulled into it. She thought no one would recognize her, but Chen Bei recognized her. When Chen Bei asked me to meet, she chose a coffee shop that was quite out of the way. She looked to be only in her 20s as well, wearing black-rimmed glasses, and the first thing she said was, "I'm not helping you. I want to get my own money back." I said, "Okay." She pushed the documents toward me. "Lin Man owes me 86,000 for the purchasing fee." She kept saying Zhu Yangchuan would make it up to her. I later found out that Zhu Yangchuan is married. I skimmed through the chat records. Lin Man said many things to Chen Bei. His wife is very gaudy, only able to manage the accounts. Men all like novelty. When he divorces, I won't have to do event execution anymore. His supplementary card limit is high. He doesn't feel bad buying bags. The first wife knows, but it's no use. She won't make a fuss, afraid of divorce. I pause at the last line. Chen Bei looks at me. "She has always said that about you." I smiled. She was wrong. Chen Bei froze. I put the documents away. "Thank you. If you want to recover the purchase price from the intermediary, you can sue separately if needed. I can have Yuan Qing introduce a lawyer for you, but you'll have to bear the costs yourself." She nodded. "I understand." Before parting, she hesitated for a moment. "Sister Shen, I used to look down on the original wife, always thinking it was ugly for a woman to hold on to a man. Now I think the truly ugly thing isn't clinging on but doing something wrong and still using others as stepping stones." I didn't sermonize. I merely said, "In the future, don't treat other people's marriage as a shortcut." She lowered her head. "Got it." That night Lin Man went live again. She cried with tears streaming down her face. "I really didn't mean to break anyone's home. I just believed a man too much. He told me that he and his wife had long since lost their feelings for each other, only staying together for the sake of the elderly for the time being." Someone in the live room felt sorry for her. There are also people who question her. "Can you swipe the primary card to buy a bag without any feelings? 50,000 for the bag. Aren't you saying it's a client gift? How did it become about trusting men?" Lin Man starts dodging questions. At this moment, Chen Bei posted a dynamic using her real name account. "Lin Man owes me 86,000 for purchasing on my behalf and has not repaid it. She has repeatedly claimed to use a married man's supplementary card to buy luxury goods and resell them. Please stop playing the victim." Chat screenshots are attached below. Lin Man's live room turned chaotic in an instant, her complexion turned ugly, and she quickly went off air. Half an hour later, Zhu Yangchuan sent me a message. "Do you have to push her to death?" I look at this sentence and I'm not angry anymore. I reply, "She owes Chen Bei money. I didn't push her to do it." She posts rumors. I didn't push her to do it. She does live streams to cry foul. I didn't push her to do it. Zhu Yangchuan answered very quickly. "Yet these pieces of evidence were what you released." I said, "I only responded to the parts that concern me. The rest is her own creditors looking for her." He didn't reply anymore. The next day, Zhu Yangchuan came to wait for me downstairs at my building. He was dressed very formally, as if for a negotiation. When I went downstairs, he was holding a bouquet of flowers. In the past he rarely gave flowers, he said. Flowers were not practical, but he had bought flowers for Lin Man. The bill showed a bouquet for 2,800. I looked at that bouquet of flowers and did not take it. He awkwardly withdrew his hand. "Jiwei, I want to talk with you properly. The mediation room can talk next week. That's not about divorce." he said. It's about us. I think it's ridiculous. What else is there for us to talk about? He whispered. I admit I am befooled by Lin Man. She is not the simple girl I thought she was. About Tokyo, I also regret it. I asked, what are you regretting? He looked at me. Regret hurts you. I shook my head. No, what you regret is that Lin Man isn't pure. You didn't turn back because I was hurt. You remembered that she also schemes against you. And only then did you think of my steadiness. Zhu Yanchuan's face turned pale. I know him too well. If Lin Man is truly gentle and considerate, quiet and unobtrusive, without debts and without a car crash, he wouldn't come back. He would continue to say that I don't understand him, that I am too strong-willed, that Lin Man provides him with emotional value. Now he realizes that Lin Man wants money, and only then does he remember that what I have given him all these years is a life. Jiwei, his voice is hoarse, 6 years of marriage, you really won't give me any chance at all. I say, I did give every time I asked you who Lin Man was, every time I waited for you to come home, every time I paid back your debt, every time your mother humiliated me and you were silent, I gave. I took a step forward. Opportunities are not only given. At the moment of divorce, opportunities have long been exhausted in daily life. His eyes reddened. I can change, I say, you can change but not for me. I bypassed him. He suddenly grabbed my wrist. I stopped and looked at his hand. Let go. He seemed pierced by my gaze and slowly released his grip. I said, Zhu Yangchuan, next time if there is another one, I will call the police. He looked at me. This time, he knew I wasn't talking out of anger. When I walked to the gate of the community, Uncle Security glanced at Zhu Yangchuan. Miss Shen, do you need any help? I said, no thank you. Behind me, Zhu Yangchuan stood for a long time, but I did not look back. For the second divorce mediation, Zhu Yangchuan finally brought a lawyer. His lawyer is very young and speaks very politely. Ms. Shen, Mr. Zhu is willing to admit that there was misconduct in the marriage and is also willing to offer some compensation, but the two of them have lived together for many years and they hope to end it in a dignified manner without causing further impact. I asked, whose dignity is at stake in this dignified ending? The other lawyer hesitated for a moment. I continue, he took Lin Man to Tokyo, used my supplementary card to buy a bag. After being investigated for 3 days, he asked me to lie to resolve the dispute at the first moment. After returning to the country, he and his mother repeatedly came to pressuring me, demanding that I apologize. Lin Man spread rumors online. I responded with evidence. Now you say don't amplify the impact. Zhu Yangchuan lowered his voice and said, I know I was wrong. I did not look at him. Yuan Qing sat beside me. Although she was not an assistant lawyer, she helped me organize the materials. The formally named lawyer is Qin, a female lawyer introduced by Yuan Qing. Lawyer Qin pushes the documents over. Our side's requests are very clear. First, divorce is demanded for both parties. Second, premarital property belongs to Ms. Shen, and the male party has no right to claim ownership. Third, the male party shall bear the disputed expenses and related losses arising from personal improper consumption. Fourth, for the property donated by the male party to a third party during the marriage, our side reserves the right to pursue compensation according to the law. Fifth, among the Zhu family loans there are parts with clear notes and chat confirmations which should be returned to be settled in a separate case or negotiated together for repayment. Zhu Yanchuan's lawyer browsed the materials, looking unhappy. Zhu Yangchuan suddenly said, that 500,000 yuan package didn't end up credited in the end, right? I looked at him. So you think there was no loss? He said, that's not what I mean. I said, you stayed in Tokyo airport for 3 days, and even until the end you kept urging me to cancel, not because of guilt, but because you were afraid of leaving a record. Zhu Yangchuan, you were worried about yourself from beginning to end. He clenched his fists. Do you find it interesting that you've reduced me to nothing? I said, I'm only stating the facts. The mediator asked, do the two sides still have any emotional foundation? Zhu Yangchuan looked at me immediately. I knew he was waiting for me to hesitate. Many women would get stuck on this issue. There was love, there was goodness. There were nights of eating instant noodles together and feeling happy. The foundation of feelings isn't an invincibility badge. A person can't use the good from the past to offset the current wrongs. I said, no. Zhu Yanchuan's eyes grew dark. The mediator asked again, is there any possibility of reconciliation? I said, no. These two are not hard to say. What's difficult is the past 6 years when I refused to admit it. Zhu Yangchuan lowered his head and suddenly said, Jiwei, my mom is old and cannot take the shock. Divorce is possible, but don't chase after her money. I laughed. Your mother can't stand the stimulation, so can you stimulate me? She's old, so you don't have to pay back the money you borrowed from me. Mother-in-law didn't come today, but her shadow is everywhere, Zhu Yangchuan said. Those are all family expenses. Lawyer Qin interjected. Mr. Zhu, household expenses are different from specific borrowings. For example, your brother bought a car for 120,000. There are chat records clearly stating lend, and Ms. Chen replied, whenever Qiming has funds he'll repay. This part cannot be simply classified as daily expenses. Zhu Yangchuan fell silent. His lawyer whispered to him. After a few minutes, the other party proposed a plan. The house does not compete, divorce is agreed, but the Zhu family's loan is not repaid. Zhu Yangchuan is willing to compensate me with 100,000. The condition is that I delete the online statement and no longer pursue Lin Man. After I finished listening, I almost burst into laughter. 100,000. Zhu Yangchuan looked at me. Jiwei, this is all the sincerity I can muster right now. I say, your sincerity is really cheap. His face turned pale. I pushed the summary of the Zhu family loan forward. The parts with a clear loan nature for 10,000, your personal credit card repayment, 210,000, in marriage improper spending, temporarily set at 830,000. Although the Tokyo disputed transaction has not yet been finally charged, the costs and subsequent responsibility arising from it will be borne by you. You take 100,000 and make me shut up. The meeting room fell silent. Zhu Yangchuan suddenly said, then shouldn't you take out the money your mother left you and share it? I pause with my finger. He finally came to this point. My mother passed away 3 years ago, leaving a savings of 280,000. That was the money she had saved her whole life. I hadn't touched it at all. It existed in a single account. Zhu Yangchuan had never mentioned it before. Now, for the sake of negotiations, he has finally set his sights on it. I looked at him and suddenly felt that this person was incredibly unfamiliar. Do you even want this? He said. Intramarital inheritance. If it's not clearly designated as personally yours, it also belongs to the joint assets. His lawyer's face changed briefly, evidently not expecting him to be so direct. I did not retort immediately. I just closed the file bag. Okay. Zhu Yangchuan thought I was scared, and his gaze brightened a moment. I said, then next time, we'll also bring out my mother's lingering account and clarify it. Leaving the mediation room, Yuan Qing was furious. How dare he bring up your mother's money? I walked ahead, my step steady, because he thought I would be disgusted and give in. What will you do then? I looked up at the sky. Find evidence. Do you have any? I think of the old tin box my mother gave me before she died. Inside there is a ledger, a statement of deposit, and a letter she wrote to me. At that time I did not dare to look. I always felt that if I opened it, I would be admitting that she really is gone. Now I must open it. I say, there is. The old tin box sits at the top shelf of the wardrobe. I move the chair closer and take it down, and a layer of dust falls on my hands. There is a copy of the mother's passbook in the box. There are a few sheets she wrote before her death. There was also a letter. On the envelope it reads, Jiwei, for you alone. I sat on the ground and opened the letter. Mother's handwriting is still so neat and delicate. Jiwei, Mom isn't very capable. I've only saved this money for you. No matter how your marriage turns out in the future, don't easily take this money out to help others. A woman should have a bit of her own backing. It's not to ward off anyone, but so that if one day you need to turn around, you can. Seeing this, my tears finally fell. During this period, I didn't cry about the airport, the bills, the mother-in-law, the mistress, or the divorce, but one sentence from my mother, you can turn around, made me unable to hold on. Turns out she has long been afraid that I endure too much. It's not that she doesn't trust Zhu Yangchuan, she just feels more heartache for me. I photographed the letter as a backup. I also found the receipt showing the deposit back then. That 280,000 yuan was transferred in after my mother's death through notarized inheritance, and she left a handwritten note stating that it all belonged to me personally. Although the legal ruling still depends on specific findings, it is at least enough to refute Zhu Yangchuan's obvious claim of joint property. Attorney Qin, after reviewing the materials, said, this part we can argue as personal property. If the other side really pushes, they might not gain any advantage. The key is, don't let yourself become emotionally compromising just because he mentions your mother. I nodded. No. The third negotiation, the venue moved to the law firm. Zhu Yangchuan looked more exhausted than last time. I later heard Ju Jing say that he hasn't been doing well recently. Lin Man is being chased for money by several debtors off due to Chen Bei's revelations that Tokyo Bag was eventually detained by the merchant for processing. With the payment dispute still in progress, Zhu Yanchuan's company knows he incurred cross-border expenses during a business trip, and although there has been no public punishment, he is temporarily not allowed to be in charge of projects. This isn't my fault. He brought the lies into work and marriage, and the lies blew up on their own. After the negotiations began, Zhu Yangchuan didn't look at the lawyer first, he looked at me, his voice hoarse. Ji Wei, the last time I mentioned your mother's money. It was my fault, I didn't speak, he continued. That day I was driven to desperation. I said, driven to desperation, so I stabbed at the most painful spot. His face turned pale. I placed a copied facsimile of my mother's handwritten note on the table. You won't get a share of this money. Zhu Yangchuan looked at the paper and fell silent for a long time. I pulled out another batch of materials. And there's your mother and your brother's loan as well. We've organized it on our end. If it can be negotiated for repayment, negotiate it. If not, we'll handle it through another case. Zhu Yangchuan rubbed at his brow. My mom doesn't have any money. That's your problem. Ji Wei, you weren't the type to be so calculating before. I looked up at him. I wasn't not caring before. I treated you as family. His Adam's apple moved. I'm not treating you that way anymore. In the middle of the negotiation, Zhu Yanchuan's phone kept ringing. He checked it several times, his expression growing worse. Finally he stood up and went out to answer the phone. The door wasn't closed properly. Lin Man's sharp voice came from outside. Zhu Yangchuan, don't think you can push all the debt onto me. Tokyo was your idea to bring me there. And the purse was also something you said you'd buy for me. Now your wife is after the money. And you want me to pay it back, on what basis? Zhu Yangchuan spoke in a low voice. Lin Man, don't make trouble. Make trouble, what did you say at the time? You said your wife is dull. That you can swipe the supplementary card freely, that you would divorce sooner or later. Now something happened, and you're pretending to be a victim. Everyone in the meeting room heard it all. When Zhu Yangchuan returned, his expression was as ugly as if he had been slapped in the face. I looked at him. No more extra stabs are needed. Lin Man has already spoken for me. After he sat down, he suddenly spoke very softly. I agree to divorce, but on the other side the reaction was explosive when she arrived. At the law firm her hair was a mess. As soon as she stepped in, she shouted at me, Ji Wei, do you have to push our family to the brink? Yangchuan has already been ruined by you and you still want money. I pushed the loan summary back. Debt must be repaid. That isn't pushing us to the brink. She picked up the document and wanted to tear it up. Lawyer Qin immediately pinned her down. Ms. Chen, please calm down. We have an electronic backup of the documents. Her mother-in-law's hand froze in midair. I look at her. Ripping it apart is useless. The bank has records and there are chat transcripts. Grandmother burst into tears. I really misjudged you back then. If I'd known you were so ruthless, I shouldn't have let Yangchuan marry you. I said, I've misjudged you all too. If I'd known you were such bloodsuckers, I shouldn't have married. She froze. I used to never speak like this. She scolds me. I endure it. She talks in a snide, mocking way. I smile. She tries to burden me with filial piety. I transfer the money, so she thought I was born unable to fight back. Mother-in-law suddenly sat down on the chair and cried, Yangchuan, say something. Are you just going to watch her bully your mother? Zhu Yangchuan hung his head and said nothing. It wasn't a moment of conscience. He just finally realized that the situation was no longer under his control. By the end of the negotiations that day, both sides had preliminarily confirmed the direction of divorce. The property dispute narrowed. Debt and loans will be handled separately. Zhu Yangchuan will bear the subsequent responsibilities regarding the Tokyo dispute. I will no longer bear any expenses for the Zhu family. Leaving the law firm, Zhu Yangchuan called after me. No, the micro. I stop, but I don't look back, he said. Can I take a look at that letter of yours? I turned to look at him. No. There is a moment of pain in his eyes. I just want to know, did she dislike me from the start? I said. She doesn't dislike you, she's just worried about me. He lowered his head. I added, as it turns out she was right. Zhu Yangqian and Lin Man resolved their feud faster than I expected. First, Chen Bei sued Lin Man for the purchase on behalf of resellers. Then Lin Man's several accounts were exposed. The so-called high-end life she used to flaunt was mostly borrowed, rented, or freeloaded. That Tokyo 500,000 package became the thing she wanted most, yet also the most trouble to handle. After verification on the merchant side, they required further clarification of the consumer relationship. The bank's dispute process had not yet fully concluded, but Zhu Yangchuan was asked to provide additional materials. He was overwhelmed, but Lin Man at this moment demanded that he compensate her for emotional distress. Zhu Jing told me about these things with a sighing tone. Yang Chuan only now realizes that Lin Man is not his only ambiguous object. I said, that's his business. Zhu Jing sighed. Jiwei, I used to think you were too domineering. Now I realize that being a bit stronger at least means you won't be stepped on by others. I smiled. Not dominance but boundaries. Zhu Jing fell silent for a moment. My mom is still causing trouble on her side. She says the loan can't possibly be repaid. Then go through the procedure. She might come to your office to cause trouble. I'm free to take on projects now, without a fixed employer. If she wants to make trouble, let her trouble happen at the courthouse door. Zhu Jing amused me, then sighed again. You really are different. I look out the window. Different is good. A few days later, Zhu Yangchuan came to find me. That night it was raining. He stood at the entrance of the community, not bothering to umbrella. The security guard called me and said Mr. Zhu refused to leave. When I reached the gate, he was soaked through. Holding a small box in my hand, I took a look and saw that it was our wedding ring. After I took it off in the first place, I put it in the suitcase to return it to him together. His voice was hoarse. Jiwei, I know it's late for me to say anything now, but I really regret it. The rainwater drips down along his hair. I hold the umbrella, standing about 2 meters away from him. You should go back. He shook his head. I've been thinking these days about when we just got married. We had no money back then, living in a small room. You waited for me to come home every night. I still remember the tomato beef stew you made. I listened to these words, and my heart did not ache, just a bit desolate. He finally began to recall the past, but memories are not for cherishing, they are to restore the benefits that have already been lost. He said, it's not that I don't love you, I just later realized you're too capable. You have everything arranged, and I look useless in front of you. Lin Man is different. She needs me, admires me. I asked, so you buy her a bag with my card to prove you're useful? He closed his eyes. I know this is silly, not funny. I said, disgusting. His face turned pale. I rarely speak harshly, so these 2 words are heavier than 100 curses. He whispered, I've broken up with her, really broken up. She lied to me. Her pregnancy is fake. She wanted to sell the bag. She doesn't love me at all. I looked at him. Then what if she loves you? He stiffened. I said, if she didn't lie to you, if she really was pregnant, if that bag came back safely, would you still be standing here today? He couldn't answer. The answer is too obvious. I stepped back. Zhu Yangchuan, you're not turning back. You're stepping back because the path behind you has collapsed. His eyes reddened at once. Do you have to make it so clear? Yes, I said. I'm afraid you'll get emotionally touched again. He clenched the ring box. I can start pursuing you again. I shook my head. Not necessary. Jiwei, Zhu Yangchuan. I interrupted him. You can change, you can start anew, you can vow never to lie to anyone again, but that is your life's mission, not my. He stood in the rain, his face pale. I turned around and started to walk. Then he suddenly said, you really don't love me at all anymore. I stopped. If this sentence had been spoken half a year ago, it could have kept me awake all night. Now I only feel calm. I once loved, I speak, so I don't want to hate until the end. After I finished speaking, I walked into the community. The security guard helped me close the door. When the iron gate closed, Zhu Yangchuan was still standing in the rain like a belated lament on stage. But I am no longer just an audience. The night before the court session, my mother-in-law sent me a very long voice message. She cried and said, Jiwei, Mom was wrong. I used to speak harshly, but I did it for this family. Are you really going to push Yang Chuan into divorce and a man who demands a divorce? Are you really going to make us pay back the money? Just pity me, this old woman, and stop the fuss, okay? I listened and I did not reply. A few minutes later she sent again, if you don't withdraw the lawsuit, I will kneel at the courthouse door tomorrow so everyone can see how you bully the elderly. I forwarded the voice message to Lawyer Qin. Lawyer Qin replied, save it, do not meet with him alone tomorrow. I said, okay. That night I slept very well. I didn't dream of Zhu Yangchuan. I didn't dream of my mother-in-law. I only dreamt of my mother sitting in the kitchen ladling a bowl of soup for me. She said, Jiwei, move forward. When I woke up it was just dawn. I washed my face, changed clothes, and tidied up the documents. The woman in the mirror has somewhat red eyes, but her back is very straight. From today onward, I am no longer Mrs. Zhu. I am just Shun Jiwei. At the courthouse entrance, grandmother really arrived. She did not kneel because Ju Jing stopped her. The mother-in-law saw me and immediately cried out, "Jiwei, are you really this cruel? A day as husband and wife earns 100 days of grace. You and Yang Chuan have been married for 6 years." I stopped in my tracks. People around looked over. I used to be afraid of situations like this, afraid of being gossiped about. Afraid of being called unfilial, immature, overly bossy. Now I'm not afraid anymore. I look at my mother-in-law, Aunt Chen. In 6 years I have cared for you, covered your medical expenses, lent money to the Ju family, and helped your son repay debts. I have not wronged the Ju family. Grandma's crying paused. I continued, "But your son committed adultery during the marriage, deceived us, and used my supplementary card to buy a 50,000 yuan package for a third party after the affair was exposed. You forced me to apologize, forced me to withdraw the dispute, and forced me to keep paying. Now you want me to give up the right to seek compensation in consideration of 6 years of affection." The people around us changed their looks. Mother-in-law's face flushed red. "Don't air your family's dirty laundry in public, you know," I said. "You were shouting louder than me just now." Ju Jing pulled the mother-in-law aside and whispered, "Aunt, please don't make a scene." Mother-in-law still wants to scold. Ju Yangchuan walks over. "Mom, that's enough." For the first time in 6 years, he tells his mother that enough. What a pity it's too late. In court, the proceedings were calmer than I expected. There wasn't the big drama you see in TV shows, only materials, evidence, demands, and responses. Ju Yangchuan admits that the marriage has collapsed, admit to Tokyo colleagues, admit improper consumption, no longer asserts ownership of the property. He expressed willingness to negotiate the repayment in installments for part of the debt. Lin Man did not attend, however. Her chat records, public posts, and spending correlations were included as supplementary materials in the evidentiary chain. In the end, the divorce proceedings progressed smoothly. The property boundary is clearly defined. The disputed portion will be handled in a separate case. Ju Yangchuan shall bear the follow-up responsibilities arising from personal improper consumption. I will no longer bear any debts or expenses of the Ju family. As I walked out of the court, Ju Yangchuan called out to me. He looked like he had aged a lot overnight. "Jiwei." I stopped. He had no flowers in his hand, no ring, and no those belated lines of talk. He just stared at me. "I'm sorry." These 3 words. I waited for a long time. In the end, they were no longer needed. I said, "I accept your apology, but I don't want you back." His eyes reddened. "I know." A mother-in-law was covering her face and crying not far away. Ju Jing supported her, and the look in her eyes toward me was both guilty and relieved. I turned and walked away. This time, Ju Yangchuan did not chase. A month later, the divorce certificate was issued. That day, the sun was shining brightly. There were a lot of people at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Some people walked in hand, while others walked out with swollen eyes. I held that small certificate for 2 seconds, then tucked it into my bag. Ju Yangchuan stood at the bottom of the stairs. "If you ever need anything in the future," I cut him off. "There won't be." He forced a wry smile. "You won't even give me polite words anymore." I said, "Politeness also needs boundaries." He nodded. "Will you be all right in the future?" I looked at the trees in the distance. "Yes, it's not stubbornness, it really is." After the divorce, I tidied up the original house again. The traces left by Ju Yangchuan disappeared bit by bit. His cup was thrown away, his slippers were thrown away, the grey curtains he liked have been replaced with off-white. The single chair in the living room, which my mother-in-law thought was too expensive but never sat in, was moved to the balcony by me. I resumed my work as a financial advisor. The first client is a middle-aged woman who is preparing for a divorce. She came to me with a pile of messy bills, and as soon as she opened her mouth she cried, "Am I too petty?" I handed her a tissue. "No." She looked up at me. I said, "Counting the bill carefully doesn't mean you're not kind, it's just that you finally included yourself in the equation too." She cried even harder. I did not urge her to endure, nor did I urge her to leave. I was just helping her sort things out bit by bit, because I know that before every woman truly leaves, she needs to clearly see what she has given and what has been taken away. 3 months later, the first loan repayment for the Ju family was received. The amount was not large, 5,000. The note read, "Repayment of loan for Ju Chiming's car purchase." I looked at those words and smiled. It's not about the money, this is them finally admitting that those years weren't supposed to be mine. Lin Man disappeared for a while afterward. She told Chen Bei that she was chased by several creditors and was in a very embarrassing state. and her social media accounts had stopped updating. She ultimately didn't get that bag from Tokyo. That bag, which she thought could prove she had been chosen, ended up as evidence that everyone laughed at her. Ju Yangchuan changed jobs. Ju Jing said that he rarely goes back to his mother-in-law's place and no longer easily agrees to pay money for the family. Maybe he really has changed. Maybe he was just hurt by reality. I don't care. When winter came, I went to Tokyo alone. I did not go to that store in Ginza. I visited Sensoji Temple, Ueno Park, and many ordinary small streets. I bought myself a small bag that wasn't expensive. I paid with my own card. There is no supplementary card. There is no shared credit limit. No one can decide for me whether this money is worth it. That night back at the hotel, I passed through the airport lobby. The moment the announcement rang out, I suddenly remembered Ju Yangchuan crying out in a breakdown on the phone. Shinjiwei, are you crazy? Back then I thought reporting the secondary card lost was the start of a counterstrike. Later I learned that wasn't the case. The real beginning was when I finally admitted that I didn't want to be the wife who cleans up everyone's messes anymore. I can love, can also pay the price, but I can't risk myself. The day I returned to my country, I opened my phone memo on the plane. There was still that ledger from back then. The last line is Tokyo Ginza 500,000. I pulled it down and added a new line. Tokyo trip Shinjiwei alone freedom. I didn't fill in the amount column because some things are finally not countable by money.